Hello and welcome back to another tutorial on how to mod Yu-Gi-Oh! Forbidden Memories. For this tutorial, I'm going to cover how to add new spells into the game. So with spells, we have a few different options. We can do a regular equip spell that gives your monster attack points, a spell that fuses with a monster to summon a new monster, a spell that can destroy a single type of monster on the field. For example, Warrior Elimination destroys warriors, and a burn spell that inflicts direct life point damage. So we'll start with equip spells. Alright, to get started, go to Taya Online and go to the mod tools menu. If you want to make a new equip spell, you'll have to make a new card in the card specs mix tab. So I'll do an example one really quick. You can replace whatever card. I'll replace a ritual spell, random equip spell. And to make an equip spell, very simple. Just go to this type menu and the bottom one, equip. Select that. You can write your description. Make the attribute magic, no level, and that's basically it. Once you made it, you can save your game files and move on to the next part. Next, what we're going to do is go to this data tab and go to equip maker. Select our game files. And once you have your game files open, you can go to whatever your new equip spell is. I didn't save my changes, so I'll use a pre-existing equip spell as an example. I'll use this one. I've already cleared the list. So to add monsters to it, you can go to each individual monster, and whatever monster you want to use that equip spell, you click on them and add them. If you want to do multiples, you can go to batch template, select your equip spell, fill out whatever parameters you want to use. So this card should equip to all, let's say, aqua monsters, and hit add batch, and it'll add all aqua monsters to this equip spell. Once you've made the changes you want, go to your save panel, save your game files, and that's basically it. For the next part, I'm going to show you how to make an equip spell that fuses with something. Go back into Taya Online and create a new spell card, or a pre-existing one if you'd like. I already have one made, I'll show you. So the card I made was Sage of Stone. So whenever I equip this card to a monster, depending on the monster, it'll fuse and make Dark Magician. In order to do that, you would do it how you did your regular monster fusions, but use a spell instead. So we'll go to the Fusion Maker tool, open the game files, and go to the monster you want to have the fusion. I'll use a Mystical Elf as an example. Under Mystical Elf's list, I'll go down to Sage of Stone that I added, and the result should be Dark Magician. Whoops, that's not it. That one. Hit OK, and now whenever we equip Sage of Stone to Mystical Elf, it'll automatically do a fusion into Dark Magician. Once you're satisfied, save it, and update your game files. By default, equip spells will give a monster 500 attack. If you want it to do more, unfortunately, the only way to do that is to replace Megamorph. So I'll show you what that looks like in game. Alright, I'm in game, and I'm playing a mod that I made before, so once we get the right cards, I'll show you what I mean. Okay, so I have Dark Magician here, and in my mod, I made Comic Hand fuse with specific monsters to make Toon monsters. So we can combine these two, and that'll make a Toon. But for the equip spell, I replaced Megamorph with Toon World. So if I do this, I'll get a fusion for Toon Dark Magician, and I'll get a 1000 attack boost. Unfortunately, that's the only way I know of to get that attack boost. By default, it's only going to be 500, and that's it for those. The next thing we're going to add is a destruction spell. Those are the ones like Warrior Elimination that destroy monster types. In order to do that, make a new card. In order for this to work, you have to replace a spell that's already a destruction spell. So I'm going to replace Eternal Drought right here. I'll change this to Pyramid of Light, and I'll quickly add the artwork. Alright, so after changing all the card details, I added the new artwork and all that. I can just save my game files. Alright, so here I have my new game files, and in order to do this next part, you're going to need a hex editor. I'll leave a link to HXD, the one I'm using, in the description. So to make this change, go to File, Open, and go to your new SLUS file. And depending on the card you replaced, we're going to have to go to a different offset. So since I replaced Eternal Drought, I'll copy this number right here. I'll go into the hex editor and hit Ctrl G to search. Paste your offset. And this number 0C is for fish, which is what Eternal Drought would normally destroy. Since I want to use this to destroy the Egyptian gods, which are Sea Serpent, I will go back to this and just change this to 0D. And that's all you have to do. Hit File, Save, and I'll show you how that looks in the game. Okay, so I've added Pyramid of Light to my deck, as well as the rest of the god cards, which I added off camera. I'm going to go into a duel against Duelmaster K, and we should be able to see it destroy the god cards when he plays them. Okay, I believe this card is Obelisk, based on the Guardian Star. I'll quickly check with this card. Yep, so they have Obelisk on the field and Slifer. So if I use Pyramid of Light, it should destroy both of them. As you saw, it destroyed both of them, and that's basically it for that. So the last thing we're going to add is a new burn spell. So in order to do that, open your mod tools, and I've already added it, but basically you do have to replace a pre-existing burn spell. You have a few options. I like to replace Sparks, which is card 343, and I'm going to use Meteor of Destruction, which does 2500 damage. The max damage you can do with a burn spell in this game is 2550, so that's why I set it to this number. And once you've made the new card, save your game files, and we'll open them in the hex editor. Once you've opened your hex editor, open your Slus file, and I'll leave a link to this document in the description, but we're going to go to the Sparks offset, which is this number. Copy it, hit Ctrl G to search, navigate to this offset, and we're just going to enter FA. By default, it's 0.5, but I've already made the changes. Since the damage numbers are multiplied by 10, we have to do 250, which is FA in hex, so that's why we have that number. So once you get to that offset, just change the 0.5 to FA and hit save. The next part, we're going to go to our WA file, and we're going to go to this offset for Sparks. So hit Ctrl G, paste it in there. Oops. And by default, it's not going to be this number. I think it's going to be CEFF. Just replace that with 3CF6 and save. If you're wondering how we got 3CF6, just open up the calculator right here, go to decimal, and I got all of this from the Brazilian modding Facebook group. I'll leave a link to it in the description. Basically, they did this big math thing where you take this big number, multiply by the damage you want the card to do, you'll get this big decimal number and the hex value, and we just reverse this value into 3CF6, and that's how we got that. Once you've saved both of those files, you can go to Ultra ISO and update your bin file, and I'll show you how it looks in-game. Alright, if you did everything correctly, when you activate this, it should deal 2500, and the text should also show that. There it is, and that's basically it for this tutorial. If you have any questions, leave it in the comments. And for the next one, I'll probably be showing you how to do trap cards. So